not good to play it without warming up, but. Every day is an opportunity to play music, and I live for it. When I'm playing music, I have one thought, one yearning, and it's just to get out of the way and let God speak. Having my book, the spoken word version of my book, being nominated for a Grammy, I mean, I gotta be transparently honest and say it just made me happy as hell. Writing the book was really scary. I knew from the beginning, like even not knowing what book I was gonna write yet, that the only chance it had of being a valuable piece of literature, and my earnest goal from the beginning, that it could live on its own as a piece of literature, regardless of whether someone liked the Chili Peppers or liked me or not, that just as a piece of literature it could be good. And I love books. Since I was a little boy, book from book, I've never stopped reading. I love them. You know, I've been asked to write a book for several times, and I always said, no. One day, if I'm going to do it, I need to really put my time to it. I don't want to half-step. And finally, I agreed, and I'm not even sure why. It just seemed, I just did. I thought it would be so arrogant for me to write about anything other than the band. And when I started writing about myself as a child, like 3 years old, 4 years old, and you know those memories you have when you're a little kid like that, they're just colors and shapes and feelings. Like there's no, and I started writing about them and writing about the things that it was impossible for me to remember well. It was such a cool exercise, and it seemed like such a great art form, like to describe something that is a murky, blurry color on the horizon, And then I discovered also when I wrote about them, they became closer, and I started understanding them. And then I started doing that, and then I started thinking, you know what? I'm not even going to put the band in it, and this is actually, like, if I can write a book and never have the Chili Peppers in it, and I never mention them. I think the last page is the first time I tried to never mention them. Right up to where the band starts, and if I can write a book, and if it can stand on its own as a valid piece of literature, then I would have done something. Then I would have written something valuable. I've had a variety of experiences with the Grammys. They've been kind of like swung the gamut between me being like, this corporate institution, it's garbage, and I don't want to put my art up for competition with other people, to winning and being like, it's so great to win a Grammy, I love the Grammys. My most fond Grammy memory was when we won for Give It Away. The Chili Peppers won on our Blood Sugar Magic that came out, Sex Magic record that came out in '91. And when we performed on the Grammys that year, Parliament Funkadelic played with us, and that was just so much fun to play with P-Funk and George and Blackbird and Clip and all my friends. After we had won that Grammy for Give It Away, about 5 years later, I was doing something in my garden, and I looked and I saw this like gold thing in the dirt. And I pulled it out, and it was the horn from my Grammy. It's like the record player with the old speaker, the horn speaker, and it was just the horn from my Grammy. And I was like, what the hell? And then I realized that my daughter had unscrewed it and had been using it for a shovel in the garden. And it had been out there for months, just like, buried in the dirt as a shovel. And so that was a really good use for the Grammy. I took it back and screwed it back on the thing, and I have it somewhere, I think. I grew up as the son of a jazz musician, or the stepson of a jazz musician, but the guy that was mostly around when I was a kid. And he played music like he had a Volkswagen Bug. He played the upright bass. He'd cram it. He managed how to fit this giant German acoustic upright bass into his Volkswagen Bug and go off to do a gig, which was oftentimes in the lobby of a Holiday Inn or some little jazz gig at a pizza place or whatever gig he had, And that's what a music career was. And I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. He loved to play that thing, and he got to go play it, and we got to live in a house and eat food. I didn't know, like, I remember when I first started joining a rock band and stuff, and there was this concept of like making it, and limousines, and you know, and Led Zeppelin, and Song Remains the Same, and it was all just so, it didn't make any sense to me, like, and from my reference point. And I remember, you know, when I started to go see a lot of rock bands, and I would go out to the Hollywood nightclubs and see bands, and I just thought, like, wow, you can do this and be able to pay rent and eat. And I remember going to, like, and I never went to the big arena shows, I saw a couple, but like going to like theaters like Perkins Palace or the Palladium, and seeing like, you know, Echo and the Bunnymen or the English Beat, or, you know, whatever bands I saw that could play bigger theaters like that, X, you know, and thinking like I could understand that. It was within my realm of comprehension, and I could understand that as a career goal. Like, if you could do this, you made it, and you're respected. I had no idea what it was, especially like, you know, the success that we've became one of the biggest rock bands in the world, and I didn't know to strive for it or to win a Grammy or stay in a fancy hotel in Paris. So no, I didn't go in it for that. I just wanted to make cool music. In the beginning of COVID, we were in the midst of writing an album, which means the four of us getting together in a room like 4 days a week and playing through our ideas and, you know, putting things together. And when it first happened, in confusion and paranoia, we stopped. And then we're like, okay, let's be measured about this, get tested, wear masks, and get back to work. And that's what we did. But when you're letting go and letting the immensity of the moment as it relates to the entire universe come through you, you can go forever. That's why Louis Armstrong was blowing wicked solos till like a day before he died. That's why Duke Ellington kept evolving and making new records with new ideas all through his life. That's what I would like to continue playing music until I die, yeah.